Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Nelson Bauer, I'm Deputy Fire Marshal here in Orange Beach, Alabama. I want to start by asking the question, what happens if somebody denies us entry into a building to do a fire inspection? It's a good question, and I'm sure that you've probably thought the same thing. How do I proceed? What is the process for me to move forward to be able to actually complete my inspection of that property? What I've done in this brief presentation is looked at our duty to inspect, and then also subsequently I've looked at what the code says in regards to right of entry, and I've tried to dissect it. Please follow up with me and provide some feedback, because I know that this one is probably going to resonate with a lot of you. I hope to talk to you all soon. Thank you.
So the question this week's going to be, do we as fire inspectors and fire marshals have the right to enter any property in our jurisdiction for inspection purposes? I think this is a great question and something that a lot of us ask ourselves all the time, but really don't quite know the answer. So what I'm going to do is kind of dig in on this and look to see if maybe we can uncover it. According to state law here in the state of Alabama, we have a duty to inspect. If you look at Section 36-1911 of the Code of Alabama, all buildings or premises shall be inspected within our jurisdictions. Looking at another angle, the Insurance Services Office, also known as ISO, requires that all buildings within our department's jurisdictions are inspected annually to receive max credit. Because we have a duty to inspect, let's look at right of entry. Right of entry is found in the International Fire Code 2018 edition. It's also found in earlier editions, and you can find it in Section 104. Looking at this section, the fire code official shall have the authority to enter the building or premises at all reasonable times to inspect or to perform the duties imposed on the fire code official by this code. If entry is refused, the fire code official has recourse to every remedy provided by law to secure entry. And that moves you into a warrant if necessary. We might ask ourselves, what does this actually mean? This section establishes the right for the fire code official to enter the premises to make permit inspections required by 105.2.2. Second part of this is the right to enter other structures or premises is more limited. So that's the biggest challenge that we have here. So what are our rights to enter for just a basic inspection? And that's what I'm going to look at in the next 4 sections. The right to enter other structures or premises is more limited. First, to protect the right of privacy, the owner or occupant must grant the fire inspector permission before an interior inspection of the property can be conducted. Note that permission is not required for an inspection that can be accomplished from within the public right-of-way. Secondly, such access may be denied by the owner or occupant. Unless the inspector has reasonable cause to believe that a violation of the code exists, access may be unattainable. However, this is a good point where we can go back to our duty to inspect as mandated by the state of Alabama. Thirdly, fire code officials must present proper identification and request admittance during reasonable hours, usually the normal business hours of the establishment, to be admitted. Fourth, inspections must be aimed at securing or determining compliance with the provisions and intent of the regulations that are specifically within the established scope of the fire code official's authority. Searches to gather information for the purpose of enforcing other codes, ordinances, or regulations are considered unreasonable and are prohibited by the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. According to Section 104.3.1 of the International Fire Code, a fire code official has the ability to request a warrant. Very simply, the requirements of this section specify that where the fire code official has obtained a warrant to inspect the property, the owner's authorized agent, or occupant is to allow the fire code official entry to do the inspection. Jurisdictions should establish procedures for securing the necessary court orders where an inspection is deemed necessary following a refusal. I'd love to know that if your jurisdiction specifically has these procedures in place. I know that my jurisdiction does not, to my awareness, and it's something that I'm going to look into to make sure that the process is streamlined in the instance that I am denied entry for inspection purposes. In closing, let's try to answer our initial question of do we have the right to enter any property in our jurisdiction for inspection purposes? We learned in Section 104 that the fire code official has recourse to every remedy provided by law to secure entry. So we as inspectors and code officials must know that we may not be able to gain entry immediately, but if we follow the proper processes, we have the ability to gain entry eventually.